Well, technically, my diplomatic career started just a year ago when I arrived in New York as the German Consul General. I'm not a typical diplomat. I did very different things in my life. It started in East Germany during the communist times, and for political reasons I was not allowed to get higher education in the state system. So I'm a trained plumber, and I would have become a Protestant minister in East Germany if the wall wouldn't have fallen. Afterwards, I worked for 3 years in the dissolution of the secret police in East Germany, very political job, and followed by a study of law. I'm a lawyer now, worked for the Federal Ministry of Interior and afterwards for the Berlin Commissioner of Data Protection and Freedom of Information. And then maybe this was my first job as a kind of diplomat. I worked for the Protestant Church in Germany in the liaison office between the Church and the federal and European politics. So I went frequently to Brussels. I worked with the politicians in Berlin. And before I arrived to New York, I was the head of the office of the federal president in Germany, the chief of staff, state secretary. And of course, this was a very diplomatic job. We did a lot of foreign policy. I worked together in my staff with many diplomats. I traveled with the president, and so now I'm here. Well, when it was clear that President Gauck, whom I served, wouldn't run again for a second term, I sat together with friends and colleagues to discuss what should I do after being a state secretary for the president. And since I really enjoyed the foreign policy work I approached the Foreign Service that I would join the Foreign Service. And then we discussed where should I go. And in the end, it became New York. And there was some reasons behind this. One reason is I was very involved in the transatlantic discussions for many years, particularly during my time at the presidency, president's office, but also before. I was part of exchange programs, etc. And there's a personal reason behind this as well. My wife is American, and so somehow it fit that I would come to New York and be the Consul General here. Usually diplomats abroad serve for a span of 4 years, and that's what I expect to be here, so I'm looking forward to stay here for another 3 years. If I'm asked what we are doing in the Consulate General, I describe our job threefold. First of all, of course, we have all these consulate duties, issuing passports, visa, etc. Second, it's our job to explain Germany in our guest country. So explaining the politics, explaining the beauty of our country, telling good things about Germany, making Germany known here in the United States. And the third is we try to understand our guest country, America, in order to explain to our politicians, the people in Germany, how this country works, what are the issues in politics, in economy, culture, etc. Those are the three major fields of our work. The United States is the country with the most German consulate generals worldwide, because we are very important allies and partners. Many Germans live here in the United States. We have, beside the embassy, 8 consulate generals. But the consulate general here in New York is somehow has a special role. Of course, first of all, New York is an economic, a cultural, a political hub. So this is of interest for German politics, for Germans in general. We have a lot of visitors from Germany, politicians, artists, economic leaders, business leaders. And what makes this role here also special, in New York all the major Jewish organizations have their headquarters, and we as the German Consulate General have the major task to network with them, to partner them, to work together with them, and this plays a big role in our daily work. It's similar like the most foreign missions. We have, of course, a political division, we have a cultural division, we have a press division, one division which is dealing with economic issues, and of course we have the consulate division where people can apply for passports, Germans, or apply for visa, etc. That's the typical organization of the foreign missions of Germany. Our district is the state of New York, including the city of New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey. We also are responsible for the Fairfield County in Connecticut. That's the suburb of New York. The rest of Connecticut belongs to the district of my colleague in Boston. And in addition, we are responsible for Bermuda, close to the shore, and so that is an add-on. You know, the United States are the biggest economic partner outside of Europe for Germany, and vice versa. Germany is the most important economic partner for the United States. There are a lot of ties for years, for decades, for centuries. In addition, many German companies are very active in the United States. We have some headquarters in New Jersey in our district. German businesses invest in the United States. Almost 700,000 jobs are created by German companies in the United States. We have all the major car manufacturers being active here, building cars in the United States. For instance, BMW has a great big plant in South Carolina, and not by numbers but by volume, BMW is the biggest American car exporter. That's a German company. So there are many examples like this. And we have a very active German-American Chamber of Commerce. And we try also to implement a kind of dual education for apprenticeship. There are many fields of activities of German companies here, but American companies as well in Germany. The most important role is to inform the Germans here how to use their voting rights. It's not like in other countries that you have to go to the, or you can go to the consulate to vote. That's not possible. If you live abroad, you have to vote by mail. But of course, we support people who need information how to vote, etc. The most important, and by volume, that what we do mostly is issuing passports for Germans who live here. Every year, about 5,000 German passports are issued here. This means 5,000 Germans who live in our district need a new passport, which means there are at least 50,000 Germans who live in this district, at least 50,000 who need a passport, because every 10 years you have to apply for a new passport. But in addition, there are other services, certifications, translations, etc. That's what legal advice. That's what we can offer to the German citizens who live here in our district. There are many German artists active here in New York, permanently or on a visit. And I personally see many of them. I see them on stage, or I meet them at the consulate. In addition, we try to have concerts here in the consulate, readings of writers. We try to promote some of them when they come to New York. We link to the cultural institutions, the information via internet, etc. So we try to support a cultural exchange between Germany and the United States, also vice versa. And particularly in this time, we try to accelerate this efforts with a special program, the so-called Deutschlandjahr in the US, a German year in the US. It was launched at our national holiday on October the 3rd in Washington, and over the next 12 months we will have 1,000 different occasions, cultural lectures, conferences, where we want to promote German topics here in the United States. If you just want to travel to Germany, you don't need a visa, as an American as well, at least. Of course, there are people who live here who are not Americans. They need a visa, so many people come here to get a visa to travel to Germany. We also link to the tourist information. We want to support people to find out what's worth to visit in Germany, and you can get this information also via internet on our page, but there's a tourism office here in New York as well, a German, which is promoting traveling to Germany as well. Really, I wouldn't do a big distinction. Of course, if you go for business, you will be in conference rooms and have talks with your business partners. When you're on leisure, you're traveling around. But I always would suggest also to business people, when you go to Germany, don't stay in the conference center or in the factory where your business partners are. Germany is worth travel. It's a great country with a great countryside, with a long and interesting history, with old cities and towns which are worth to visit, great forests. We have the sea, Baltic Sea, North Sea. So discover Germany when you go there, also as a businessman. On a frequent basis, we have concerts, lectures, readings here at the consulate, and everybody is invited to come here. We have a newsletter which informs about this. On our webpage you can find it, and we invite you. Come and join us for these enjoyable events. First of all, Germany is a very colorful country. By traditions, by the people, by the landscape. It's not just beer, bratwurst and pretzels. That are nice things as well, but it's much broader and wider what you can experience in Germany. And Germany is an open country which wants to show the world how we are. And so please come to Germany. You are welcomed there, and the people in Germany want to connect to the world and to visitors from all over the world.